Hello and welcome to the podcast where good trivia gets rewarded and bad lies are punished. But will we detect the lies? This is What's the Fact?
Yes, indeed. My name's Ryan Whittal. This is Warren Robertson, and he ain't detecting no lies when I'm on the mic, yo. Welcome to the show. How you doing, Warren?
Yeah, I'm doing good. At least I was doing
Great.
good until you went, yo. I thought that was
That was very cool.
Oh, it was.
Because
Listen, if this was the 90s, Ryan, you would be swimming in vagina. Right?
I know how to spit it on the mic, yo.
Oh, right. Good.
Yeah, the mic is my friend.
This one's going south already. I can see it. It's going to be problematic.
But it's a fun one, isn't it? It's a funny one, and it's very large. Speaking of...
Please, let's never speak of this in public again. You're talking about the topic, right?
Yes,
Please
the
tell me you're
topic.
talking about because the topic this week, I think you mentioned it in last week's episode.
Yes.
The topic this week is sitcoms.
It's lovely.
Yeah. And again, one of those weird topics where we know no one's going to click on the episode, and yet for some reason it's going to be fucking brilliant.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, like, sometimes if you were to go with the topic like entertainment, it's so varied.
Yeah.
And you'd think, oh, there's a lot of stuff. Then you narrow it down, go sitcoms, like, oh, that's too narrow. No, my
Actually,
word.
there's so many, right?
As I was thinking about it, man, it's become a thing. It's become a real thing in our culture.
Oh, yeah.
But
for like 60 years now, you know?
is it only 60 years?
I mean, since 1960 odd.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think the late 70s was the heyday.
Oh,
when it
all right.
really launched properly.
You mean oh yeah, but you've got what Lucille Ball's shows in the 1960s. We didn't really get to see them in South Africa because we only got TV here in 1976.
That's right.
So we didn't get to see Lucille Ball and those sorts of shows that.
I don't even know who Lucille Ball is.
Well, exactly.
Do you know?
I mean, I do. And now, off the top of my head, now that you question me, I've forgotten the name of the show.
But did they have like canned laughter in a studio? Was it?
I Love Lucy. That's the name of the show.
Oh.
Yeah, and they had all that stuff going. You know?
Really, eh?
Yeah. No, I mean, TV in America was so many decades ahead of us. You know, at the time...
Andy Kaufman, when...
No, so he's 1970s, and he's a stand-up comic. But so it sort of starts... The format starts in about the late 1950s, early 1960s.
Really?
Yeah. As this kind of family show about a family, you know, are you going to get a good laugh? It's the mom, the dad, the two kids, the wacky neighbor, you know, and they start defining what this thing is. And then slowly over time, they start adding to it and making it the formula a bit different. So now by the 1970s, you get Three's Company, and it's not a family that lives together. It's a guy and two women and he's pretending to be gay. So
Oh my God.
Yeah. So now you see the formula starts growing and developing until the point where like now you hit the 90s and you've got Two and a Half Men, and then it's the Big Bang Theory and Friends and all these sorts of things, to the point now where the sitcom is entirely almost devolved, you know. But we'll, I'm sure, get to that over the course of the podcast. I don't know.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know what you've prepped or what you've got going.
Whoa. It's funny you've mentioned quite a few things that are...
because it is in fact your turn to go first.
Yeah, and I'm going to start with something very special indeed. I'm going to start with MASH. Yeah. MASH, the fact is...
Yeah, nobody thought that there would ever be a successful sitcom about potatoes.
Yeah, there you go. And...
I regret saying that now, right?
You know,
there's a little part of me that was like, I'm going to force this in. I'm going to shoehorn this fucking joke in. And now that I've said it, it strikes me as an incredibly terrible idea.
I've also had such a positive influence on you as well. Not only are you getting me to read better books by actual academics with PhDs, but you're ramming in some seriously crappy puns every now and again. It's wonderful.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's be honest, Ryan. I'm ashamed of myself, and I thought I was better than that.
So MASH, bit of a. It's not my fact yet. Before you shout, "What's the fact, Ryan?" Which is the name of the but it ran for. A lot of them ran for this number 11 seasons. It was quite interesting. But it was first a book, 1968. And then turned into a movie in 1970, and then finally a few goes at a TV show. And my fact is this: the final episode, the finale.
It's one of the most famous finales of all time.
My fact is that it remains the most watched finale of any television series, and the most watched episode of a scripted series, the finale of MASH.
Sure, so TV's entirely changed, right? Since MASH was on.
I can say that this fact is probably up until 2010. So
no, you're almost certainly right, and I'll tell you why. Because TV itself has changed, right? Back then, in the 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, there were very few channels, and everybody used to watch the same shows. So intrinsically, like the entire America, the entire world used to tune into the same very few shows. So when there was a big finale, it was literally it was an event. People would stay at home and watch the show.
Yeah.
So you do get these staggering numbers from the 70s and 80s TV that you don't get anymore, because now it's so diversified. People now,
unless it's ultra huge like Game of Thrones final episode, then it was
but even then, right? People watched it on different platforms. They watched it in different ways. They saw it in different countries. Like it wasn't all streamed at the same time with everybody watching the same show at the same moment. Yeah. So I can
and the world has changed so fast, because even in my TV production days in my former life, it was we had a term for it. It was called destination viewing, like the live lotto draw.
Right.
Destination viewing. Everyone, especially when the lotto first started in South Africa, everyone tuned in. In fact, there was a half-an-hour game show before, and then the live draw, and everyone tuned in.
Right. Yeah, it was the way that was done. So I can easily believe that the biggest single episode watched show would be in the 80s, 90s somewhere. And I know that the MASH finale was absolutely immense. I know also, Dallas had some episodes and things that were absolutely enormous. So whether it was a Dallas episode, where Bobby Ewing got killed, or whether that, I'm sure there are things competing with MASH for who had the greatest viewership. But I'm prepared to believe it is MASH. I'm prepared to believe, you're telling me the truth.
Yeah, I've started with the truth, and you've nailed it, man.
Wonderful.
It's an episode
How
called...
rare.
It is rare.
Yeah.
It is rare. I must stop that. It's an episode called Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, and is the most watched television broadcast in American history. I didn't watch it, but I did watch the final episode of Dallas, and it was like 2.5 hours, and I eventually went to sleep because I was like 12. And my granny said I was going to sleep.
And also the other children in your class were mocking you so mercilessly for watching Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the devil visited JR. Did you watch it?
No, Ryan. I was put to bed strictly at 7:00.
The devil visited JR. Yeah.
Like, even at 16.
It's very, very.
Is that?
Now, MASH, it did this flip flop between comedy and drama, so I don't know if it was that tragic episode, but there's a really tragic episode in MASH, and I don't know if it was that one. I hope it wasn't. I hope wasn't.
You haven't seen the MASH finale. I haven't actually seen any of MASH, to be honest. And knowing about MASH and knowing the kind of the character names and these sorts of things is literally just passed through kind of cultural zeitgeist to me. Because I haven't. I know nothing about it.
No, I did actually watch it when it was on TV. Because it was sort of late at night. It was quite a late, even in the old South Africa and SAB's TV1, whatever. It was still on quite late, like 9:00.
Yeah, but you're that couple of years older than me. So you got that, like, I was still being spanked and put to bed at 6:00. Thank you very much, my babysitter, for all the fetishes. Yeah. No, so it was a prime era of TV. I'm gonna go to that same prime era. Let's start in the same space. I'm gonna start with the Golden Girls.
Oh yes,
Golden.
Thank
Girls.
you for being a friend.
There you are. That's it. But did you know that Quentin Tarantino?
Oh, come on.
Quentin Tarantino credits the sitcom The Golden Girls for being a large part of why he made Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, that's hysterical. I have a confession to make.
Oh.
Seen Pulp Fiction. Seen the one where
You've never seen Reservoir Dogs?
I've seen the Mexican vampires.
Oh yeah, from Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, which was
You should see it. It's brilliant.
Really?
Absolutely brilliant.
Really?
Yeah, it's possibly. I think it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. I mean,
What a
it's
crazy
brutal.
fact.
It's bloody. It's.
And he's not joking when he says that. Well, that's your fact, hey?
I mean, assuming he says it, Joe. Right?
Nah, okay. You've got to be talking cuck. That's my answer. You're lying. It's not true. The fact isn't true. Quentin Tarantino does not credit the Golden Girls for his inspiration for Reservoir Dogs, which I happen to know has some violence.
Credits the sitcom The Golden Girls for being a large part of why he made Reservoir Dogs.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the wording.
Fuck.
It's not necessarily the inspiration for why.
Mate, oh fuck. Well, I don't know enough about Reservoir Dogs.
Listen, Reservoir Dogs is about
violence,
a jewelry robbery that goes wrong. And
Oh.
about how the burglars kind of all one by one sort of meet back at the central rendezvous to determine what went wrong. Those of them who have survived, and they try and work out why did it go wrong, what was going wrong, and then they wind up in a Mexican standoff at the end. Where they all pull the guns on each other. It's it really is brilliant.
Okay.
It really is great movie making.
Okay. Okay.
Thoroughly enjoyable. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
I'll still just say you
I'd use
got it, even though maybe not the inspiration, but why he made it. No, you've got to be talking cuck.
You're
Yes, it's a lie.
Right.
It's
Ryan, I don't start with lies. I'm telling you the truth. Quentin had a small role as an Elvis impersonator in the episode called Sophia's Wedding in 1988, and it became a two-parter. So Quentin Tarantino himself said that while he was paid like $650 to make it at the time,
and he made it in the final cut.
He's there. He said in both episodes. So he says it was just a little part, but he says so while he was only paid like $650 at the time, the residuals over the next few years of it being repeatedly shown meant that he didn't have to go out and look for a job, and he could focus on making Reservoir Dogs. So he says if he hadn't made Golden Girls, he may never have been able to make Reservoir Dogs, and therefore it possibly wouldn't have happened.
Isn't life fascinating sometimes?
Yeah. So Quentin Tarantino's out there. In fact, this particular episode, Sophia's Wedding, is it's one of the favorites. So if you see like a collection of like the best of the Golden Girls or whatever, it's on there, and Quentin Tarantino plays the Elvis impersonator in
wonderful.
that episode. Just out of curiosity, how old do you think the Golden Girls were? How old do you think the actresses were who played those old biddies in their retirement?
Yeah, well, there was always this weird urban legend going around that the granny, Dorothy's mother,
Estelle Getty,
Sophia,
she played Sophia,
that she was actually not as old as she looked, and was potentially not the oldest on set, and was potentially a bit younger. But I think maybe Dorothy was the oldest. Blanche was youngish.
Yeah, but how old would you say they are? I mean, what are we talking here?
Late 50s.
I mean, you're surprisingly accurate. Like for me, when I think back on them, they seem like crones. They seem like ancient.
Blanche was a bit of a, she was the show's slapper, but she was all right, if you know what I mean.
So it's still. I mean, for me, it was always about Betty White. I would have betrayed any covenant with Jesus for Betty White. Estelle Getty, who. I'm gonna pay for this one. Aren't I? Estelle Getty, who you're actually right. Estelle Getty, who played Sophia, was 62 at the time, and she was playing this old doddery, ancient one. She was 62. They did have to age her with makeup. B. Arthur, who played her daughter and played Dorothy, was 63. So in fact, a year older than the woman playing her mother.
Wow.
Yeah. Betty White was 63 at the time, and Rue McClanahan, who played Blanche, was a mere 51.
All right, Blanche.
Yeah, a mere 51, Ryan. Like a couple years older than we are now. Like a decade. Eight years older than I am now. The Golden Girls, Ryan.
Wonderful.
I had a bit of a.
Well, we might have a late blooming, sitcom moment as well.
No, I had a bit of a meltdown when I discovered these old biddies were basically the age I'm supposed to be. Anyway, so there you are. Yeah.
Did you ever see Hot in Cleveland, a sitcom in the early 2010s?
No, I don't.
Betty White was in there. So it was so sweet. 'Cause I don't want to spoil the plot of this episode in case you have a Frasier
If
fact.
I watched
but
that,
you
I'd
might
probably
have
go blind.
Hot in Cleveland.
Because Betty White's in it, and she's
White's
hot
in
in
it.
Cleveland. I'd probably go blind. Am I right? Hey, because of all the wanking, Ryan. Jesus, come on. Hey, high five. No, don't touch me. I've been wanking.
Betty. Oh, man. Betty. Train of thought. Right. Hot in Cleveland. Oh, so it's about 3 divorcees and Betty White. Three women who are all divorced and living in a place in Cleveland. And Betty White sort of lives with them. But the women are awesome. The one is the British chick from Frasier. Now the one is that tall chickie with a hoarse voice. I don't even know her name.
Oh, yeah. No, you're narrowing it down for me immensely here, right? Thanks for bringing this up.
The tall, funny chick in America in their 50s with a hoarse voice is sexy also. And then there's, the British chick from Frasier.
I mean, honestly, the facts are just flowing from you right now. Thanks for bringing it up.
Look,
Ryan.
it's a very funny sitcom. Okay. Hot in Cleveland.
Right, okay. I will never look it up. There's too much to watch. But I will think about looking it up.
Betty
and
White's
occasionally.
You know who was a guest the one time? David Spade.
Right? David Spade in the 90s was in everything, right?
Yeah, but this
what was the sitcom with him in? The one about the newsroom.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Fashion, I don't know.
You know the lady who was the boss of the whole thing? She's in Hot in Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
That's the tall, hoarse voice. Tall,
with the dark
sexy
hair.
one. Yeah.
Right. Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
This is like
good.
This is like playing charades.
This podcast is off the rails already.
He's big on facts. I'm big on the. You know the one? It was like the thing charades.
Yeah.
I'm the charades part of what's the fact.
And I'm expected to then remember the names of these people. I never knew her name. But she was very funny. She was very funny. Anyway, right. What's your next fact here, Ryan?
Yes. Okay. So Seinfeld. Another fact. Seinfeld. Love that show. What a glorious show. But let me get to the fact quickly. So, more popular in non-English speaking countries. That is my fact.
I mean, it would have to be. And this, I'm going to say something controversial now. I never found Seinfeld funny.
That is controversial. Okay, no, it's fine. I'll allow you that because I've got some commentary on it.
Oh, really? Do you? Okay. No, I never found Seinfeld. Yeah, I never, like Seinfeld. It had, for me, it was like a laugh an episode kind of a thing. And I never thought that was particularly good enough. I always wanted more
I think my theory on it, because I love it very much, and Jerry is one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Just even now, driving in cars with
seen
ego,
that much.
Jerry. Okay.
Haven't seen that much, but the truth about Seinfeld the sitcom is Jerry is very straight, and he's cute and likable. His biggest asset isn't that he's hysterical; he's just cute and likable.
Yeah,
and
then a lot in the 90s.
Elaine is also cute and likable.
No, but I mean she's so good in Veep. Like she's outrageously good. She's like a
in Seinfeld.
No, in Veep. So she goes on. I've now forgotten her name, but she goes on to do Veep, and her comedy timing. And listen, the comedy timing and things is great, but it's quite often the material for me that I just don't. It's like I just don't identify with it.
You know what you're going to do with Seinfeld is you actually have to. You know that thing when you step into a theater, it's called suspension of disbelief. You've got to tell yourself when you're watching Seinfeld that Jerry's not an actor, and that Elaine came from SNL and is there in some kind of cutesy role. But Jerry is an awkward actor, and he's not hysterical, but there's this cutesy chemistry there. But what the show is really about...
you're really selling it. You're like, it's not that funny, but, No.
Here's... Because there's genius in its construction.
Right.
Now, what's really awesome is Kramer in his slapstickness and the over-the-top sort of comic performance. That's pretty awesome. But let me tell you what the real treasure, which was our previous episode, the treasure of Seinfeld is George. He's the gold because he's this neurotic complainer. Like Seinfeld is good at complaining about things, even in his stand-up. But George, that high octane neuroses is what makes the show.
And is that
George,
your fact? Is
no,
that your fact?
No, my fact was that it's more popular in non-English speaking countries than.
As I say, it would have to be because
but
for,
I'm
for
talking
me,
about
as
why
someone
I
who
think
speaks
Seinfeld
English,
is genius. It still is brilliant, even though you don't find it that funny. I still think it's genius.
okay. I mean, clearly, it's a thing that that just misses me. Like it's
That's interesting.
I don't get Schitt's Creek either, and I'm
I
honestly
want to
I'm,
watch
I'm,
that. I want to watch that.
I'm begging for internet hate here at the moment because Schitt's Creek is so wildly popular. Like Big Bang Theory, I just don't fucking get it at all.
No, it's
and
pleasant.
and
I
then there's
enjoy
like
it.
millions of fans of these things.
Yeah,
and
I
just
do enjoy Big Bang Theory. I do. You doesn't do it for you.
Doesn't no, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, in fact, if anything, it irritates me.
I see.
Yeah, sometimes like they're just saying words. Anyway, I could spend an hour. I could spend an hour bitching about Big Bang Theory, but let's not do that.
Yeah, put the hate in the comments.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes. It's true. It would have to be more popular in non-English speaking countries because maybe they understand it.
I was lying. In translating Seinfeld, Jennifer Armstrong notes that Seinfeld is less popular among non-English speakers as its unique style of humor is too cultural and word-based to make for easy translation. Yeah, but she does go on to say
it's almost certainly cultural based. It's almost certainly cultural based because it's not word based. No, believe me, if it was just word based, I would get it. But it must be cultural based. It has to.
Yeah, it is that New York vibe.
Yeah,
it makes you want to visit New York. Hey,
like Special Victims Unit. Anyway,
sure.
So you were lying,
but I was lying, and she goes on to say, which is fascinating. It may be the first situation comedy or sitcom. Did you know that's truly to achieve the status of art? So she's really a big.
I mean, she's clearly a fan.
Yeah.
I mean, what's interesting. I mean, if I look at like sitcoms from about that era, I look at something like Cheers and Frasier, and to me, those are those kind of genius.
Yeah.
That for me is the peak of that era. American kind of sitcom. I'm a big fan. I was also a big fan of Friends, which is kind of interesting because Friends is really it's like as popular as 2.5 Men and as Big Bang Theory, and a lot of people when I say I don't like Big Bang Theory or I don't like Schitt's Creek or whatever, they accuse me of being like, oh, you just like these niche things. But no, I really liked Friends, and I'm saying that now as somebody who's about to lead into a Friends fact. Because a lot of people know that the first interracial kiss on American TV occurred in 1968 on the Star Trek episode Plato's Stepchildren, when Captain Kirk, played by William Shatner, kissed Lieutenant Uhura. Uhura, I think it is. Uhura.
Kissed her goodbye.
No, he kissed her full on, played by Nichelle Nichols, and that's the first interracial kiss.
Really?
But did you know we had to wait almost 30 years? This is my fact. We had to wait almost 30 years for the first gay kiss. And it was on Friends. And it was when Ross's ex-wife Susan got married to her girlfriend Carol. That was the episode. It was 1996. That was the first gay kiss on TV.
On purpose. Because there might have been some...
No, it was the first gay kiss. It wasn't like two girlfriends kissing each other. That was the first gay kiss.
Yeah. But maybe there was an accidental kiss, like you said. Like I've just
no. This
I've
was
got some spare facts because you actually in your intro, You pissed right on one of my facts.
Oh, did I?
But for example, Three's Company, which was
Right.
going to be one of my facts. I'll tell you what the fact was going to be. But
no, I mean you can still.
the fact was going to be
No. Let's answer this one, and then we could deal with your one. Right? We've got a format here for a reason. We like to follow the rules.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. But like there could have been an accidental girl-on-girl kiss or boy-on-boy kiss.
No, this is the first intentional lesbian kiss. There you go.
This is your
Shall we
fact.
say, yeah, this is my fact. 1996, Susan and Carol at their wedding episode on Friends.
The Ellen sitcom, when she came out famously, was it before or after?
She didn't kiss anybody. Yeah.
Ah.
So she came out, but she didn't kiss anybody.
Yeah, I'd say you're speaking the truth.
Yeah, I wish I was. Right?
Really?
I wish I was. I'm a liar. The first lesbian kiss on TV was in 1991 already on LA Law, of all places.
Oh, that was a controversial show.
Yeah.
Remember the old people licking frogs? Do you remember that episode?
Oh, yeah, wild. and then the first gay kiss is technically on Will and Grace, but it's just a quick kind of like peck kiss as a protest for a gay kiss happening on TV. At a protest, but it's not a real like. The first heartfelt,
great show,
like man-on-man kiss comes a few months after that Will and Grace episode on Dawson's Creek.
Really?
But both of those occurred only in the year 2000. So 1991, first lesbian kiss. Year 2000, first gay kiss. 1996, Carol and Susan get married on Friends, and they do not kiss each other. Friends cowered out. They didn't even. Yeah, they decided not to court the controversy. When in fact, people had accepted those characters and were ready for them to kiss at their wedding, but they didn't. Yeah, so Friends, as much as I like Friends, that little piece of cowardice is going to haunt them forever, I think. I mean, listen, let's be honest. They've got about 3 black characters in 10 seasons. So they were very much avoiding the controversy.
They picked their battles, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness me.
And basically what you mean by that is they ran from all of their battles, every single one of them. They ran fleeing with their tails between their legs, which is sad. But because I did think Friends was very wittily written.
Yeah.
But, like, it's actually interesting because, these moments, they record them in history. And I mean, one of my favorites is that it was only in the 1960s when they depicted married characters sleeping in the same beds for the first time. And those characters were Fred and Wilma Flintstone. So there you are. They couldn't even let real people sleep in the same bed as each other. For the first time.
And those same people are watching Japanese anime porn today. Not real porn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look what they did. They broke our brains is what they did.
Oh, that's a very fascinating fact. The spin-off.
So tell me your Three's Company fact, Ryan.
It was going to be. You actually spoke about it in the beginning, but it was going to be. So Three's Company is about 2 girls who were renting an apartment, and they needed a third because that girl, I don't know what happened to her. And so then one of the opening episodes is Jack Tripper as a party passes out
played
in
by
there.
John Ritter, yeah.
Yes, passes out in the bath, and then they're like, "Oh, he can stay," but the Ropers wouldn't let him.
Yeah, the Ropers were the landlords.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, and so the way that they got him to stay was he pretended he was married to the brunette girl.
Right, yeah. No, he pretended he was gay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I did trample on it. Which is what is nice is that we send a clear signal to everybody watching this that we do very little preparation.
We read the top line in Wikipedia and then we move right along.
Yeah, no.
But I do have. I know I got backups. I got backups.
Right,
but
well, let's hear your real backup.
I got to say, I loved Three's Company. I really loved it. Really, really loved it.
Three's Company, they fired Susan Summers, very famously the blonde girl, because she wanted as much money as John Ritter.
Really?
Yeah, and the Hollywood kind of elite wanted to stomp on this whole woman getting even money to men thing.
Really?
So they fired her, and they made it a big deal. They got rid of her it was this, signal to the women of Hollywood that they will never earn as much as the men. Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, in those early 80s, eh?
It was, yeah.
Well, Reagan, what a man. Oh dear indeed. Okay, yeah, moving right along. We've got you mentioned the word spin-offs a little earlier. And
yes, because you and I were talking about the Ropers as a sitcom was a spin-off of Three's Company. Yeah.
Yes. So Cheers was not a spin-off of anything, but do you know what was a spin-off?
But Frasier was a spin-off of Cheers. That's actually why I linked those two earlier.
It's lovely, yeah, because he was one of the guys who came to the bar.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Cheers, very successful sitcom. One of the few TV shows in America. Here's my fact: in its first season, to be ranked the #1 TV show in America.
No, that's nonsense. And I actually bizarrely, I know this. So the only reason that the Cheers landed up surviving was because God, I forget his name. The executive of the station really loved it personally, and he believed in it as a concept. But I think it ranked, and I'm literally gonna tell you the number. I think it ranked 77th out of 100 shows in its first year, and should have been cancelled. But because this guy was regarded as something of a visionary, and I wish I could remember his name. He was he was the dude. He was the guy who came up with the idea for Miami Vice as a TV show. He was like, he'd watched MTV, and he was like, what if cops were MTV cops? And he came up with the idea for Miami Vice, and of course Miami Vice became this massive thing. And to this day, he's regarded as an absolute TV legend, and I wish I could remember his name, but he kept Cheers going despite the fact that it absolutely bombed. Its first year was 1982. Those are all the facts to do with Cheers' first year.
Yeah.
I would like my prize, please, Deets.
Fine, I was talking shit.
Yeah.
And you're right. And in fact, the facts I have is that it was ranked 74th out of 77.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So third from the bottom was Cheers in its opening few episodes or opening season. And yet, at the end, we spoke about destination viewing, everyone watching the same TV show. We know about MASH's great finale. And I don't know if... So Cheers obviously never eclipsed it, but its series finale was watched by an estimated 93 million viewers, almost 40% of the US population at the time.
Yeah, the thing about that show was it was a lot cleverer than it looked. And some of the writing on that show... Just if you do comedy and you watch the writing on that show, some of it is the tightest, slickest, smartest writing I think I've seen... ever, really. That kind of classic comedy writing, that sort of, where they didn't miss a single joke, and the beats were perfect, and the acting was great, and the actors all worked together beautifully.
He's just a rock solid performer, Ted Danson.
Yeah, it was a cracking show, and I say that as somebody who was very much. I was 3 years old in 1982.
Yeah.
I was very much too young to watch it in its era. What I have seen of it has been long past its alleged sell-by date, and yet still it holds that allure. And Frasier remains among my absolute favorite sitcoms of all time.
That's a beautiful thing, Frasier, and it gave rise to old Woody Harrelson, whose name was Woody in the show.
Yeah,
and Kirstie Alley.
Who actually now in retrospect, the world could use less of.
Kirstie.
Yeah, she's become awkward. That's what the Twitter has taught us. Don't tweet with your heroes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Shame.
Kirstie.
Anyway, what do you do?
Woody's gone on to do some things, though.
He has, hasn't he? He's become a bit of a Hollywood legend, old Woody Harrelson. And as Kelsey Grammer, and you look at and you look at some of the people that are on that show. The waitress, what's her name? The other waitress, the older lady. She was married to Danny DeVito for many years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And obviously, Danny DeVito was in Taxi at the time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. All right. Here's my next fact. This is a juicy one. 90s TV star on ER. You remember the show ER?
Yes.
George
Clooney.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is who I'm talking
yes.
about. 90s TV star in ER, George Clooney, broke the law, and in doing so, directly led to one of the longest running comedy shows of all time.
What on earth are you talking about?
Because George Clooney broke the law, we now have one of the longest running comedy TV shows of all time. And without him breaking the law, it wouldn't have happened.
What is the link? What is the bloody link? What is he talking about? Longest running TV shows.
Yeah, one of the longest running TV shows.
Can't be Big Bang Theory. Well, okay, but it's not a sitcom. ER isn't a sitcom.
No, I'm not talking about ER.
Yeah, so you're talking about something
90s
else.
90s TV star on ER, George Clooney.
Yeah.
Broke the law.
Yeah.
And this directly led to one of the longest running comedy shows of all time.
So you've got to be talking about a sitcom. Friends. Was he on Friends?
He was on Friends, but as a guest star.
Yes. Did he have his own sitcom? No. Maybe it's got to do with maybe Mad About You. I was gonna say that.
Ooh, Mad About You.
Mad About You. That's a lovely little
one.
thing.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay,
thought
so
about
it's
that
not
in a very
that.
long
Okay,
time,
so
right?
I'm just
Paul
testing.
Reiser and Helen
Okay,
Hunt.
so it's
Nice
not
one,
that.
nice one.
It's not that. Maybe the what's the one on the beach house in Malibu with old Charlie Sheen?
I'm not gonna give you any more.
Beach house
I'm not
Malibu
gonna
Charlie
give you any
Sheen.
more.
Maybe there's a link there. What's that? 2.5 Men. I think it's got something to do with 2.5 Men. I'm gonna say for some reason it's true.
George Clooney broke the law and it led to 2.5 Men.
Yes.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Yes.
So you're just saying you don't have to guess any facts. You just have to say whether I'm telling you the truth or not.
Yeah, I'm saying you're telling me the truth, and I'm figuring it led to 2.5 Men because that was quite long running.
All right. So you're sure it's true?
Yes.
All right, good. Let me tell you a story.
Story time with Pappy.
Yeah. Picture this: it's the mid-90s, and a former Fox TV exec gives a couple of film students a small amount of money to make him a Christmas card movie, like a little short clip movie, which he's going to distribute to some of his friends. Right? It's sort of an act of charity because he likes these guys. He thinks they're very funny. But he can't sell them to other TV execs. Other TV execs want nothing to do with these guys. They don't see it. They don't see it as like funny things. So he gives them $1,200 and he says, oh, just make me a Christmas holiday card for my mates. So these guys go away, they make this thing, they come back, they give it to him, he distributes it to his mates, and one of his friends happens to be George Clooney. And George Clooney thinks that this Christmas card is the funniest fucking thing he's ever seen in his life. So he pirates it. He copies it onto hundreds of VHSs, right? Which is illegal at this point. He breaks the law. He pirates it onto hundreds of VHSs, and he distributes it himself to all of his own friends as being a thing that, because this is how we shared memes back in the 90s. You know, he was basically seeing a meme and he wanted all his friends to see the meme. So he copied it and he sent it out to all of his friends. But because he was 90s fucking ER star George Clooney, some of his friends were TV executives. And suddenly people are looking for the students who made this clip. They don't know who it is because there's no name on it. It just becomes this viral thing throughout LA.
So he literally was, this is so fucking funny. I'm going to multiply this like a maniac. And say, because why not? Because I got some money in the bank and I'll pay a little place to make many.
Hundreds of copies. And he distributed it to all of his friends because he thought it was so good. And then it became a thing, right? Now people are looking for who made this fucking thing. And the next thing, the students who actually made it here, a group of guys has got a meeting with MTV about making a show based off of this thing. And they're like, no, but those guys can't. Why do they have the meeting? We made it. So they go to their Fox pal who commissioned them for the thing. And they're like, listen, this thing has gone viral. And MTV's got a meeting with a bunch of strangers about this fucking show, about creating a show for this. And like, it's not us. We made it. So their ex Fox exec pal goes to MTV, corrects everything, says, listen, that's my video, I commissioned it. The guys you're about to have a meeting with have fuck all to do with it.
Jeez.
Like, here are the real guys. Meet with them. They go into a meeting, and suddenly their name becomes known all over LA. Everybody's swamping them with offers. They're swamping them with all kinds of weird offers. Everything from like, do adverts to direct the latest Barney the Dinosaur movie.
Good Lord.
Genuinely. But nobody wants them to make their own actual show, despite the fact that this thing has gone viral.
That's odd.
Until a little known channel called Comedy Central decides to take a bit of a risk. And Comedy Central says to them, all right, we'll give you money to make a pilot season, to make a first season. And what Comedy Central is thinking is nobody knows who we are. This is going to stir up so much controversy. We're going to become famous. Shortly thereafter, the very first episode of South Park, Cartman gets an anal probe.
No way!
Is broadcast on TV, yeah.
Wow.
So there it is. And South Park is still running to this day over 20 seasons
It is?
later, yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah.
good religious me really loves that show.
And they
it's fucking funny.
yeah, and Comedy Central was so determined to shock everyone. They pushed ahead, even though when they showed Cartman gets an anal probe to a test audience, people had to rate it out of 1 to 10, and the top ratings were 3 with many ones because people were so offended by this whole like children's swearing thing. That Christmas thing had been based off a student project that they'd made called Frosty Fights Jesus, in which Jesus kind of throws his halo as like a boomerang type weapon, and Frosty the Snowman fights. And that became a Christmas special South Park episode in which Jesus and Santa fight each other.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because he returns in the second coming, and he works in a call center help desk.
Yeah, and then he's got his show Jesus and Pals,
Yeah.
where he does a chat show.
I mean, just today in the office, I was telling people about the episode where because they were talking about going to KFC for lunch, an episode where they don't call it KFC in South Park, they just call it the Colonel.
Yeah.
They get a bucket of the Colonel, and then one of the mothers says, now go and wash your hands, everybody. And while they're washing their hands, Cartman comes in and just eats the skin off the pieces of chicken. All the skin.
And they're like, oh, it's the best,
it's the best part. It's like, oh, sorry, guys. I gotta go take a shit. No, fuck you, Cartman. You ate all the best part. You ate all the skin again, Cartman. Fuck you, Cartman. Sorry. Bye, guys. I'm gonna take a shit. Bye.
Yeah, apparently it was the children speaking like that made it so controversial. They were like, no, we can't possibly have this thing where children speak like that. But yeah, Matt Parker and Trey Stone, those two students, had apparently developed the characters because when you're a film student, you go onto a lot of film sets and you do the arbitrary menial jobs.
Yeah.
So like while they were holding like, lighting
pole.
rigs or something,
Oh,
then they would do those voices to each other and make the stories.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. What a story.
Yeah.
So Clooney was
Yeah, so George Clooney, that's
man.
why George Clooney at the start of South Park, it often says, the voice of the dog is played by George Clooney. and it says, the celebrity voices are impersonated often poorly, and the voice of the dog is always credited as being George Clooney because George Clooney played a major part in their whole thing.
That's a wonderful fact. And the movie was wonderful as well.
Yeah, it's all good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. My next fact, are we getting close to the end?
I think we are. I think we're down. I mean, you started this time, so you should be down to one lousy little fact.
Yes, and then it's multiple choice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Orkney Snorkney. Het jy daai een gesien?
Oh my God. Ek weet daarvan.
My fact was gonna be it's based on a fictional town in the Rustenburg region.
But the town of Orkney is real.
Okay, good. So I'm glad
you didn't do that, yeah.
Because I went to Potch Boys, and between Potch and Clarkstorp is little town of Orkney. And the first time I'd heard that Orkney was real was there was an oak in a hostel, Bradley, Maurice Bradley,
right? Morris, yeah. Actually, Maurice is how they spell Morris in England. So it's always Morris. The answer is always Morris. But bizarrely, some people have started taking that Maurice French pronunciation.
Morris was from Orkney. He's like, where are you from? I'm from Vereniging. I'm from Joburg. I'm from Boksburg. I'm from Orkney. They're like, no fucking ways. That's a TV show. No. It's a real place. It is a real place.
My favorite part is when they went Orkney, Snorkney, gaan Margate toe. for the movie, right?
Yes.
So then it's like the town of Orkney goes to Margate.
Yeah, in the caravan park. We did that in film study.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, in Afrikaans
As I
class.
say, only the best, hey? Only the best for our South African film students.
Oh my gosh. And so it's a lovely family sitcom and stuff, but the names got certain meanings, like Orkney Snorkney means it literally means it doesn't snore, but it also means it's not asleep. It's a vibrant little town, which it probably isn't. Doesn't matter.
No, I mean even today, I think you'd struggle to call it vibrant. Although I did meet a guy once. I went to Paris for my friend Rob's 30th birthday, and then we were drinking in the bar, and some of these folks were hitting the fucking brandy and coke very, very hard. And one of them told us, he's like, no, he's never been to Johannesburg. You know, like Paris is like an hour south, or couple hours south of Joburg. He's like, no, he's never been to Johannesburg. He could never go there. Satan lives there. He's lucky because his farm is directly in the middle of the three biggest metropolises in the area. These being Sasolburg, Vereeniging, and Potchefstroom. So he was like, these towns are big enough for him. He never needed to go to Johannesburg. Blew my mind.
Vitan and Potch. Wow, man.
Yeah, blew my mind. You know, that just an hour south of Joburg, there were these guys that had never been there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a cute little show. I actually watched it a few times, and the English-speaking community thought it was quite funny as well and would tune in and have a bit of a giggle.
My parents used to watch it.
Yeah, so did my parents and my grandparents.
But again, it was that era where we didn't have much choice, right?
Yeah, but it was a bit of a giggle. It was nice to see a South African sitcom.
He's a Frank Opperman.
Yes, he was in there. So my fact is, at some point in the series, it's very, very cute, but they find the solution to snoring. And it's Orkney's solution to snoring.
No, man, you fucking making that up. I hope to God that's not what they did.
And the solution was they put in a purifier and a steamer, a plugged-in steamer, extract of khaki bos in the air, stopped your snoring. That's my fact.
Oh, Ryan, you seem so cocky about this. It's blowing my mind. I hope, you know, so there's two parts of me here at war with myself. Right? Me as a fan of television who likes to watch.
watching your existential crises.
Yeah, no, I'm having one. I'm having one because there's a part of me that's like, I like to watch good TV. And I enjoy watching good TV, and I, as a viewer, desperately hope that they never did that episode. And then there is the half of me that is written for these TV shows.
True story,
who is as aware of how desperate things can sometimes get in the writer's room. And of how deeply, deeply you're willing to sacrifice everything you stand for just to get the fucking episode written.
Yeah, because the deadline is looming.
That's right. So I'm gonna suggest that it's in fact that latter me that wins. I'm gonna say yes, it happened because they had a long fucking Thursday night accidentally when they were supposed to write an episode on the Friday.
And it was, as you say, extract of khaki bos in a purifier.
Oh, is that the bit? Was it marijuana? Was that what it was? It was the implication that it was marijuana.
Do you think on SABC?
I think so, yeah. I think actors have always pushed the marijuana agenda. They've always worked for big marijuana, Ryan. Like, actors have been slaves to big marijuana for as long as marijuana has existed.
Marijuana corporation, you know, it's not the military industrial corporation ruling the world. It's big marijuana corp.
No. If actors can sell anything, it'll be big marijuana. They're massive fans of the big marijuana, particularly here in South Africa.
All right.
You know,
so you're saying
maybe LA is all up in their cocaine, but in South Africa we still a bit more traditional than that. We like things a bit simple, yeah. We're simple people down here.
And then we sing redemption song, or we don't.
Or whatever. we don't know what we don't know. We don't remember what we did.
Can't remember the lyrics of anything.
What we did. We had a dozen castles, 14 brandy and cokes, and 3 joints, and we can't remember what we did. But we're pretty sure we had fun.
So it wasn't Khaki Boss, it was the Mary Jane.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'll give you the point because points are so important on this show.
Yes, they're very
That
important. We're adding them up.
it was not a purifier with extract of khaki boss. So you're right in that I was lying. It wasn't a purifier with extract of marijuana either. The simple solution to snoring in Orkney was the wife made a T-shirt and she sewed. I don't even know the word of it. You know, like sewing thread. It's on a thing. What's that thing that it's on?
Spool.
Is it on a spool?
Yeah.
She sewed a spool into the back of a T-shirt so that you could never lie on your back because lying on your back causes you to snore. So Hendrik would wear the T-shirt and he'd lie on his back and it would be uncomfortable because the fucking spool is in his spine and he'd turn on his side. And of course, the front of the T-shirt or the back of the T-shirt said Orkney Snorkney. It was an anti-snoring T-shirt, and it was one of the solutions in the episode.
That there's a thing that legit is a cure for snoring, where you sew a tennis ball into the back of somebody's shirts. Yeah,
this was a sewing spool.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that. I mean, that sounds like the kind of important information that our listener needs to go away with.
They do, because that's going to help them in their life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of fact that now they're gonna remember.
They're gonna stream Netflix.
They're gonna remember that instead of their best friend's telephone number. That's the fucking shit that's going on. This is how this stuff works. All right, I'm actually also gonna deviate from American sitcoms now. I'm going to Britain.
Cool.
For what is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, which is the original series of The Office.
Me too.
I think is an absolute you want to talk about comedy as a work of art.
I love it.
Ricky Gervais has deviated far from the path of The Office since, but what a work of genius that was. But okay, I don't know if you remember this, but in the original British Office, we used to occasionally catch a glimpse of a janitor by the name of Gordon, who would appear to get caught be caught unaware by the camera, and then he would stare silently into the camera for a very long period of time, almost like a rabbit in the headlights. He would just sort of stare at the camera.
Wow.
Anyway, due to the costume and this awkward character and the fact that it was all, a surprising part and there were no spoken lines, my fact is, what people didn't realize was the part of Gordon was played by Terence Stamp. So famous actor Terence Stamp from Superman movies, from Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Good grief, man.
Yeah, he played this part of Gordon.
I can't remember the janitor.
Yeah, he wears a brown coat, and they just kind of occasionally they'll be panning across, and he'll stand up from clearing a bin or something, and he'll be like rabbit in the headlights in the camera, and he'll,
because it's still a reality show.
Yeah, and then he'll just stare at the camera awkwardly for a couple seconds before they cut it.
Yeah, Terence Stamp.
Yeah, it's famous actor.
I have no idea.
Stamp, yeah.
Oh, really? A woman actor?
No, award-winning.
Award-winning.
No, Terence.
I know, but
like Terence and Phillip from South Park.
You said Priscilla.
Pull my finger, Terence.
I love those songs from that movie.
Yeah,
Uncle Fucker. Yeah. Lovely. I don't remember the janitor, and I wouldn't know.
I mean, it would be difficult for you to. But the thing is, did you know Terence Stamp? Maybe I could have made it simpler. I could have said, did you know Terence Stamp was in season 1 of The Office?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that you're talking the truth.
I'm glad that you believe that, because it's a nice way for me to end this particular section, because I'm lying.
Are you?
I'm lying through my teeth.
I can't remember the janitor. Was there a janitor?
Yeah, there was a janitor. The show was written by two people. It was written by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant.
Yes,
and the
yes,
janitor
yes.
is in fact played by Ron Merchant, who's Stephen Merchant's dad. And they just made him play it because they thought he had a funny face.
So who's going to play this? Your dad. Your dad's
because he's got this weird face. Let's get your dad to play.
Was he an actor or probably?
No, not at all. Not at all. They just got him in to do this dude who stares into. It's very funny when you notice it. Like it's very funny. Go back and have a look. It's great. Ron Merchant is perfect as as the janitor Gordon.
So he's the janitor. That's fantastic. Yeah. And it's we've come to multiple choice time.
Yes, we have.
Now, I because you got my Three's Company question, I had to use a spare, and then I had to invent a multiple choice question. But I don't think Yeah, so I'm going to get nostalgic and 80s, and I'm going to say which of these sitcoms centers around a recording studio? Was it Who's the Boss? Was it The Mary Tyler Moore Show? Was it Throb? Was it WKRP in Cincinnati?
Wow. I mean, okay. So Who's the Boss was obviously set in New York. Tony Danza and Angela falling in love with each other. Mona, wasn't she hilarious?
Eventually.
Right. The Mary Tyler Moore Show I've never seen,
Oh.
so I couldn't tell you. Throb, I have never seen.
Oh.
WKRP in Cincinnati was a work of genius. It was very, very funny. It was set in a radio station. So
you're doing that weird elimination thing.
Yeah,
that you do, eh?
yeah. So now we're down to Throb or the Mary Tyler Moore Show. It can't be the Mary Tyler Moore Show because she wouldn't set it in a recording studio. The answer is Throb. We're done here.
We certainly are done here. Yes, and you didn't remember it from the 80s?
I've never seen it.
Do the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat, feel the beat, feel the beat, feel the heartbeat, Throb.
Huh.
That was the opening jingle.
Literally, meaningless to me.
And what was really cool about Throb is it was a recording studio. So they had the open plan office. They had the big boss executive office in a sort of closed off room. So there was the secretary, gatekeeper to the big boss, and then open plan. But because they were trying to be funky and hip as a recording studio, the entrance was a kind of garage door, this metal garage door which opened. So every time anyone entered, hi everybody, who's there? Oh yeah. So that open and close this crazy garage door. But what was also cool was the whole show was a vehicle for some crazy guest artists on the show who would then also perform a bit of a demo live for the office people who didn't watch and go.
So that must have come
either
off
they
of,
dig it or
off a British sitcom called The Young Ones. I don't know if you ever.
Oh, I do know The Young Ones.
So The Young Ones.
I think Young Ones came after Throb though. Throb was 80s. It was
so Young Ones is early 80s.
Really?
Yeah, and Young Ones was Rick Mayall and Aid Edmondson. These
Chris
guys
Forrest showed
like,
me an episode of Young Ones when we first started
but
stand-up.
they had to have a live music act in each show as part of the commissioning process.
Oh, really?
Because they couldn't get commissioned. There was no budget for a purely comedy show for anybody to force through this like ridiculous comedy show. So what they did was they went, okay, it's a music show. You guys do your comedy shit, but then you've got to have a live band on. Yeah. So they wrote this show that could effectively have like a live band play in the middle of their house every week.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I did watch an episode of The Young Ones. So Throb was very charming, and you're right, it was all about WKRP in Cincinnati was because Cincinnati probably has apparently has a lot of radio stations.
Okay.
I
seem to remember WKRP being pretty funny.
Yeah, Who's the Boss? You spotted right. Mary Tyler Moore Show was a 70s sitcom.
We've mentioned some pretty narrow kind of sitcoms here. Like the only one we've missed really is Herman's Head. Remember Herman's Head?
No.
Oh, you see, I knew. Finally, I've got one that you didn't necessarily know. All right, I'm gonna jump into a couple.
Oh wait, do we have to start again? Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna mention a couple that perhaps we haven't mentioned yet so far that you might have a nostalgia moment about. All right, so the popularity of many sitcoms, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about spin-offs earlier, but the popularity of many sitcoms led not only to spin-offs, but to some of them being turned into animated children's TV shows for Saturday morning. So which of these never became a real Saturday morning cartoon? Which of these sitcoms never became a real Saturday morning cartoon? All right, so yeah, which of these were not real? I've got names here. And I'm gonna tell you what they were based on. One of them is fake. Little Rosie, based on Roseanne. Elf, based on Elf. Yeah. The New Adventures of Gilligan, based on Gilligan's Island. Webster, the animated series, based on Webster. In a Full House, based on Full House.
You've given 5 there, hey?
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. Oh, no. That's fine. I'm not complaining. I'm not saying,
you're good for this, yeah.
I do know Little Rosie was a cartoon. Yeah. I can imagine Alf was a cartoon. Would have been a very enjoyable one for the kids. this alien. Webster would have made a cute little cartoon. Not to be controversial and mention the Cosby Show, but of course, his characters that he spoke about in his stand-up was a cartoon. I forget what it was called, but there was
called,
Fat Albert and Sonny.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was called Fat Albert.
Was it?
Yeah.
Fat Albert. Okay. So there was a few that I didn't quite recognize.
So the other two are The New Adventures of Gilligan,
yeah.
was based on Gilligan's Island. So Gilligan's Island is the early 70s classic American sitcom.
Really?
It was one of those huge kind of cultural phenomenons, yeah? And then the other one is In a Full House, based on Full House.
Yeah.
And A Full House, of course, led to it was Bob Saget, and it led to the Olsen twins.
Yes. Yeah, I can imagine how Gilligan's Island, especially if it's got anything. I'm thinking of Gulliver's Travels, but
yeah, Gilligan's Island was about like a cruise ship that ran aground, and it was about the captain and Gilligan and all these characters who'd been stranded on a desert island, and then they were trying to survive.
Must be Full House. I doubt that was ever a cartoon. Am I right? I'm saying Full House. That's my answer.
You are 100% correct. But you know what's interesting about it is that the Webster, the animated series, was made some 30 years. Like, it was made in like 2010. So that was like, what, 25 years? 25 years after the actual series had gone off air.
What an odd decision.
Yeah. Little Rosie was the one I thought you might like.
No, I actually watched it on Mnet, on KTV.
Yeah,
I think it was on KTV.
And you're right, Elf, obviously. Elf
that would have
was
been
always
cute.
going to be an easy one. But you're right. Yeah, the Full House one was the nonsense.
You know, on Between Two Ferns, one of my favorite little clips of Between Two Ferns is when it's the Oscar special, and then he brings Bradley Cooper on, and then they end up having a fight, and he throws the fern at him. It's quite a funny one. But before that, he's got he calls on he calls on, who's that really good Irish actor who was nominated for an Oscar?
Brilliant. You really narrowed it down.
Well, he played the American president, the old one who was assassinated. Not Kennedy, an even older one. One of the founding fathers, man.
Lincoln.
Yes.
Oh,
that
you're talking about the guy, the first person to win 3
Oscars
for Best Actor.
Thank you. Yes. So
Daniel
he says,
Day-Lewis,
please welcome
right?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Day-Lewis,
and then the actor from Webster comes out. Because apparently
Emmanuel
his name
Lewis. Emmanuel. You see, Daniel Day-Lewis. Emmanuel Lewis. I see what you're doing there.
So then he was like, I said Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, and then they just, thank you very much. And they play him off. He hasn't even said anything. And he's like, what? But it's the dude from Webster. That's fucking funny. He's aged well.
Good.
If you see the clip.
I'm glad. I mean, to be honest, he was 40 and he looked like he was 12. So, you know.
Awkward. Shame. But I even as a kid watched Webster. Did you watch Webster?
I watched Webster. Of course we watched Webster.
Cute, man.
Let's say goodbye. Thank you very much for joining us. Please click like, share, join everything. Tell people, review it if you listen to us on Spotify or on Apple. I mean, don't review it if you're going to review us 1. That just makes us cry.
5
review
stars.
it only if you're going to review us 5 stars. We're not even asking you for money. So if you can do these things, just click the likes and stuff. We would appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.